Hello, I'm Chef Charles Draghi of Erbaluce Restaurant. I'm the owner of the restaurant that's in Bay Village in Boston. We're going to cook roasted pork loin and a mostarda fruit sauce to go along with it. It's a fantastic accompaniment. We have here a little bit of pork that has been seasoned liberally with salt and pepper. It's been resting for a little while to drink in some of that flavor. We're going to put this into a hot pan with a little bit, I like to use a neutral canola oil or another oil, grapeseed oil maybe, that has a high smoke point so that you can sear the fat side down. And I have this on a medium heat so that it doesn't scorch in any one spot, just sort of slowly browns as we go with the pork. So we're going to take this pork, let it roast. The fat is going to render out. It's going to add to the little bit of canola oil. It's going to bring with it some of the seasoning. And it's going to give a really nice flavor to the fat as the pork cooks. So we're going to let this sear a little bit here. And then we're going to roll it, sear the other side, sear the ends, which is important. That way the juice doesn't run out. And we'll give that a good maybe 5 to 10 minutes total on each side and on the ends. And then we'll put it right into the oven and let it roast. Now, while that's searing, we can start to make the mostarda. It's one of the great sauces of Italian cooking. It's great with roasted meats. It's also fantastic with boiled meats. It's something that is kind of seasonal in that it's made in the fall from stone fruits mostly. And here I have lots of white nectarines and white peaches. You can use cherries, you can use plums. There's lots of different fruits that you can use in this. The important thing is to cut them so that they're fairly large. These are 1-inch squares. You can use whole cherries or whole small plums. Just remove the pits, of course. So I'm going to put that into a bowl. Very, very simple sauce, but it's absolutely incredible in flavor. To that, I'm going to add a little bit of a dusting of salt, some pepper, some very spicy Dijon mustard. Now, mostarda, although it does have mustard in it, does not get its name from the mustard. It comes from mosto, which is fruit juice. And it's the fruit juice mixing with the sweetness that helps carry the flavors around. So in this case, I use a little bit of apple, or you can use white grape juice. Add a little bit of that to it, just enough to hydrate. The big trick, this is a traditional dish from northern Italy, from Lombardia, so saffron used in everything there. It's absolutely delicious. And also saffron in anything that's spicy and sweet brings out the best qualities of both. We're going to add some raisins. These are the gold raisins, the sultanas, which I adore. And then, and this is optional, but I like to really pick up the heat from the mustard, so we're going to add some red pepper flake, crushed red pepper flake. Then I have a little mix of different spices here, these sort of sweet spices, if you will. There's cinnamon, a little bit of ground fennel seed, some allspice, and cardamom. Really wonderful combination. So you just add that. Little touch of lemon juice to give the tart portion to balance the sweet. And then some honey to give it a little bit of rich body. This is a wildflower honey. The wildflower honey you find all across the country in different types of wildflowers. The Tupelo honey, you have wild blueberry honey from Maine. This is from a local apple orchard and peach producer who actually grew these same fruits. I always like to reintroduce different levels of the same flavors. So these same white nectarines and peaches, when they were flowering, the beehive went into the groves and produces the honey that goes into the sauce. And then we have some sage and basil. You can chop this, but I always prefer to tear the leaves. Beautiful sweet basil, fresh sage from the garden. When you tear the leaves, it releases all the oils and the aromas, just incredible. And then, of course, your hands smell great afterwards. Many times just brush against rosemary plants just so that I smell like rosemary. I just love these aromas. And by tearing it like this, these aromatics are going to go all the way through and really be released. When you let this rest about 2 hours in the fridge and you stir it, the perfume will be unbelievable. So you just stir it up a little bit. And you can see it has sort of a light consistency right now in terms of almost a brothiness to it. But the honey is going to mix with the stone fruit juices and the little bit of apple juice I put in there. It's going to really bring out the heat in the pepper flake and the mustard. The fruits are going to absorb a lot of that aroma, and they're going to almost become like a ceviche in there that they're going to sort of cure a little bit, and all those flavors are going to come together nicely. And then the raisins will drink in some of the juice also and thicken it up a little bit. So we're going to set this aside in the fridge for a couple of hours. Seems like we're good on this first side of the pork. Roll it, and you see really nice golden brown, how even it is. Nice color. We'll go a few minutes on the next side, and then since I've taken the leaves of the herbs and torn the leaves, and I have some stems left, and I'll take a few more stems. So the basil and the sage. So you roll the pork over, throw this right into the oil, and it'll give a little extra flavor. So we're reintroducing different levels of the same flavor. You're going to find in the sauce, you find it in the meats. When the meat rests and comes out, you can put more herbs and let the meat rest on top of it. So this is going to go into a hot oven, a 450 oven. Depending on the size of the roast, sometimes roasts are thick, sometimes they're longer and narrower. But you want to go till it's a nice medium to medium rare, a little bit pink in the center, but hot all the way through. So we have our pork loin, just came out of the oven about 7 to 10 minutes ago. Give it a little time to rest. This is very important with roasted meats, to let them rest so that the outside that's really tight and cooked and the inside that's a little bit juicy rests so that it drinks the juice through and all the flavor goes through, and then the meat is much more supple. Otherwise, it'll be a little tough, won't have the right flavor. So this has been rested, and you can see that really nice darker golden brown that's happened to the meat with the proteins all the way around here. Also in the resting, a lot of the juice from the meat has gone into the pan, mixed with some of the fat and some of the seasoning. So we're going to use a little bit of that also to give a little extra flavor to the roast. So since this is rested, it's not super hot, but if you feel more comfortable, you can use a little towel. And then just some nice slices. And you can see just a tinge of pink, but still really hot all the way through. Really beautiful meat. And this way it has a beautiful moistness to it and a nice rich flavor. So depending on how many are in your party, you can portion appropriately. I like to do fairly thick slices so they're nice and moist and they still have a lot of the bite to them. Here we are. Okay. And now this juice from the pan with those herb branches we've thrown in, some of the juice of the meat, a little bit of the oil, just put that over. So that's going to have that beautiful smoky roasted meat flavor. With that herbs, a little of the herb flavor. And then the mostarda, which has been a couple of hours. And now, as you can probably see a little bit here, the herbs are looking a little bit like they're marinated. The flavors come in. The fruits are starting to pick up around the edges, a little bit of that marinade really starting to come through. The raisins are starting to plump up. This will just keep getting better and better. You could leave this in the fridge indefinitely and make a larger batch and use as much or as little as you like as you go along. I like to just eat it straight by itself. It's beautiful. Very spicy, sweet, herbal, but at the same time, you still taste the stone fruits first and foremost. You taste the nectarine, you taste the peach. The important thing, even with strong flavors, is not to overwhelm what your main ingredients are. That fruit should taste like fruit, pork should taste like pork. And by buying the best ingredients, it sort of helps to have the flavors already locked into those ingredients. Just a little bit of the sauce over the top. And then I always like to, again, reintroduce similar flavors. So just some of the herbs that we've already used can drape around. You know, it looks like a wonderful sort of fall, summery plate. Can't quite place exactly springtime. It really is good anytime. But the flavors are absolutely gorgeous here. So I highly recommend you try this dish when you have friends and family over with a really beautiful spicy red wine. It goes great with white wine. It goes with almost anything. Also boiled meats. Try it with the same sauce. It's absolutely gorgeous.